Hey, I'm Chris, and this is MMA for You. I'm going to be doing my predictions for UFC 205, Alvarez versus McGregor, which happens on November 12th. Uh, but before I get into that, just some notes. If you haven't heard, I am now only doing predictions for the big events like the pay-per-view, some of the UFC on Fox cards, maybe some of the smaller cards that have title fights, and I'm still going to do Invicta cards and post-fight analysis for these cards as well, and like Q&A. Otherwise, it's just taking a lot of my time to do all these smaller shows, to do Bellator and whatnot. So yeah, I'm just sticking with these bigger cards. However, if you guys want to go into comments and ask me what my picks are for some of these cards I'm not going to do predictions on, go right ahead. I'll definitely give you some of my picks. I, I'm not some newbie. Some UFC newbies might be on that card that I'll probably not see. But otherwise, feel free to ask me for picks on like the comment section. If you want to ask me about like certain fights, still ask me on the comment section. How do some strengths, weaknesses, or how just a certain fight's gonna go that I might not be doing predictions on. Go right ahead. You can still do that. Um, More likely than not, I will answer it too to the best of my ability. So, before I get into that, though, I'd like to plug my own author's website at www.chrismaldon.com. I am an author specializing in the fantasy genre, and you can buy some of my works, starting with my first novel, an action adventure called The Mustard Prince in the Condiment Kingdom, for $4.99 on my website on PDF format, or if you have a Kindle or like some sort of e-reader, you can get it for $4.99 from Amazon.com. Also, for just $1.99, you get some of my short stories and short story collections, starting with the fantasy horror short story, The Land of the Wooden Statues. Then there's the horror collection, which is a compilation of 3 of my gothic horror short stories, and my fantasy fable collection, which is a compilation of 4 of my fantasy fable short stories. Links to buy these will be provided on the description. Okay, on to this card. This is like the best card of the year, easily, just on paper. The 3 title fights are all really good fights. And then on top of that, you have Yoel Romero versus Chris Weidman, Cerrone versus Gastelum. I mean, honest truth, Jacek versus Kowalkiewicz could probably headline its own pay-per-view. And same with like Woodley versus Thompson, given a strong enough like co-main. Or you can just put those 2 fights on their own card, and this card would still do pretty bonkers, just good numbers with Conor McGregor on the card. And then you have Miesha Tate versus Raquel Pennington. The prelims are awesome. Frankie, Edgar, Jimmy Stevens, Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Michael Johnson. That alone is really strong. Boetsch versus Natal is fun. Luque versus Muhammad actually looks like a fun fight. All these at least look like fun fights, too. On the Fight Pass prelims, you have Alves versus Jim Miller, and Carmouche returns against Chukagian. So this is a really good card. Relatively tough to predict, too. The main event, especially, is super hard to predict. So let's get started. Okay, in the main event, we have Eddie Alvarez versus the notorious Conor McGregor for Eddie Alvarez's lightweight belt. Okay, Eddie Alvarez, 28-4 record, 15 wins by KO or TKO, 7 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by submission. 32 years old, he's 5'10 on a 3-fight win streak, and he's the current UFC lightweight champion, knocking out Rafael dos Anjos in the first round, or getting a TKO victory over him. And he's also a former Bellator lightweight champion. Alvarez, his boxing's good offensively. Defensively, this is a guy that gets hit clean and gets hit clean at least like once in his fights. That's where there's cause for concern. Otherwise, his grappling's real slick. If he wants to just wall install and just grind you up against the fence, he'll do that. He can wrestle. He can take you down. He's actually pretty good at taking the back. And he's a pretty tough and resilient guy. I mean, despite the fact that, like I said, he does have a tendency to get hit clean at least once in a good amount of his fights. He generally recovers well and can come back. And at times has just taken wins. You know, like when he fought like Melendez. I mean, the guy's eye was like, he couldn't open his eye. You know? And then he comes back and he has a lot of heart. And sometimes he'll come back and, you know, just get the win that way. Or, you know, just with his resilience and sheer force of will, you know. Conor McGregor, 20-3 record, 17 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub. He has 3 losses by submission. 28 years old. He's 5'8", training at SBG Ireland, and he is the UFC featherweight champion. I mean, it's kind of weird. Technically, he's moving down to 155. I mean, he usually fights at 145. On the regional scene, though, he was fighting at 155. So, really, like, I don't think his power is going to go away at 155. If anything, I think he should be just fine at this weight class. If anything, he should probably stay at this weight class, too. He's really big for 145. And, you know, just his body and body structure and type kind of just looks like a 155er to me at this point. I mean, if he can make 145, you know, I guess, you know, he's been knocking dudes out there. But thing you got to watch out for with Conor McGregor is that left hand. It's not just the left hand, though. I mean, that's the thing that is knocking guys out. But he's good at leading his opponent to his left hand to get that kill punch, you know, or the kill shot. I mean, he shot in the second fight against Nate Diaz. I mean, the reason why he dropped him is he kept leading him right to that left hand. He's a really good pressure fighter too. He's always coming forward, has a really good chin. And, you know, he added those leg kicks. That's going to be interesting, though. Those leg kicks, I gotta wonder if those are gonna play a factor in this fight, because with Eddie Alvarez, he might just grab the kick and take him down. But, you know, in like the Donald Cerrone fight, Alvarez showed a huge susceptibility to leg kicks. Funny thing about that, though, is that Alvarez himself has displayed some pretty good leg kicks of his own. I remember when he fought Roger Huerta back in Bellator. I mean, he knocked him out, you know, he finished him with leg kicks. One of the biggest problems with McGregor, there's a couple weaknesses. One, I think he seems to have like one desired range, and he's good at keeping that range. But like when he fought like Nate Diaz, for example, it's like he doesn't have much of an inside game. I was kind of surprised. Like no short uppercuts, no elbows, no knees. You know, I mean, I'm sure he can use them, but it doesn't seem like he uses them that frequently. It's also, I doubt a lot of people get him really, like, you know, he doesn't allow people to get in that close a lot of times, so that could be it too. But, like, it really seems like he just has one range, and he's really good at it, standing. Like, if it's, like, long, you know, like if the left hand can connect, also like leg kick range. But like on the inside, yeah, I have yet to really see that. You know, against like Chad Mendes, for example, when he was put on his back, he didn't look very good. There's reports he was like injured, or you know, he had like a injured knee or something like that. So I don't really know what to expect from him if he does get put on his back. Is he just going to get back to his feet when he's taken down? Is he just going to lie there? I don't really know. So this is tough, because the thing with McGregor also, when he fought Diaz those two times, it was at 170. So once again, we don't really know. But his cardio is kind of questionable, because like that second fight after the second round, he was like a totally different fighter. I don't know what happened. Like he looked great, and then he just fell off a cliff, and then he got a second wind. And even when he fought Diaz the first time, it kind of seemed like that. I kind of wonder if he kind of puts a lot of power into his strikes, especially with that left hand. I gotta wonder if that tires him out. Now, it's not necessarily as bad cardio, but maybe it's his ability to use, to be economical about it. I don't know, but it just, judging from those two fights, it just kind of seems like, or you gotta wonder if he has cardio issues, or maybe it's just he's fighting at 170 and hey, that's not his right weight class. I don't know, but it is definitely something to keep an eye out for if the fight goes long. So here's the thing, Eddie Alvarez, I think, has just more tools. He can stand, but he can also wrestle and grapple, whereas Conor McGregor seems to just have like that, just standing. His takedown defense looks pretty good, and he's showing off in like the workouts and whatnot, his takedown defense. So I mean, for all I know, he can be just defending takedowns and beating up Alvarez. I don't know. It does concern me that Eddie Alvarez is a guy that gets hit clean, at least like once in the fight, and against a guy like Conor McGregor that can just lead to a knockout. The size difference, it's not like a huge size difference, but it's just one of those things where like Eddie Alvarez is like 5'10", Conor McGregor is like 5'8", and Conor McGregor has like really long arms, but like he's not gonna be like taller than his opponent. Didn't really do much. I mean, he still beat Nate Diaz regardless of that. But I'm gonna pick Eddie Alvarez to win this one, and I think he's gonna, if he has to, he's gonna make the fight boring. I think he can grind against the fence. If he can get McGregor down, wouldn't surprise me if he can keep him down or even take his back. Standing, it's not like Eddie Alvarez is defenseless there. Like, it's not like he can't strike with McGregor, obviously. I would say that McGregor's a better striker than Eddie Alvarez. What makes him the takedowns, cardio-wise too, I mean, once again, I don't know what factors led to McGregor looking as if he just totally just fell off a cliff and just faded in the fight. The fights against Nate Diaz. But, it's, for right now, it's a factor, and it's something that, I can't say he has good cardio, because I have nothing to really base that on. Whereas with Eddie Alvarez, he's gone 5 rounds with, like, Michael Chandler. He's still strong. He's gone 3 rounds a bunch of times and still looks pretty strong. So, with that said, I'm going to go Eddie Alvarez to win that one by decision. Next right after that, Tyron, the chosen one Woodley, fights Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And this is for Woodley's welterweight belt. So, Thompson, 13-1 record, 7 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub, 33 years old, he's 6 foot on a 7-fight win streak. The thing with Thompson's style, I mean, he has that hands-down style, like karate, that karate style. He has a lot of kicks, he's really good at getting inside and out, really good footwork, and he's very accurate with his strikes too. He's a guy that will confuse a lot of his opponents. Because he's there in front of his opponent and then he's gone. He saw it against like Rory. He saw that against just Hendricks, You'll see that with Thompson. He's in and he's out. But then on top of that, he does have some pretty good takedown defense as well. And his ability to get back to his feet when he's taken down is quite strong. One thing about Thompson, though, is this kind of concerns me, in a sense, because he did get dropped by Jake Ellenberger. And it just concerns me because Tyron Woodley has a right hand that's capable of not just dropping guys, but just knocking them out cold, So leaves some concern. So, Tyron Woodley, 16-3 record, 6 wins by KO TKO, 5 wins by sub. 34 years old. He's 5'9" on a 3-fight win streak. Most recently knocking out Robbie Lawler in the first round. Trains out of ATT Evolution, and he is the current UFC welterweight champion. He's a strong wrestler. This is a really strong guy in general. His weapons of choice, honestly, like, he has a right hand, and then he has a good leg kick too. He doesn't have a lot of other weapons per se. Like, he doesn't have a great jab. I wouldn't even say he has a great left hook or like a good body punch. His uppercut actually isn't too bad. I remember he knocked out a guy a while back with an uppercut. But a lot of his strongest weapons are like on his right side. It is his leg kick, which he beat like Carlos Condit with like leg kicks, and then like his right hand. Doesn't use the left very much. Cardio wise, it's tough with Woodley to say if he has good cardio or not. He looks like a guy that kind of fades a bit, he definitely looks like he puts a lot. I mean, he'll like really he kind of loads up when there we go. He loads up, especially with the right hand. He'll kind of load up a bit and throw it. It tells me that like he's also just a guy that seems to put a lot into strikes, because a lot of his strikes seem to be power punches, or a lot of power strikes. So like I think that might sap his cardio a bit. The last time I saw his cardio not look so good. Like, when he fought, like, Kelvin Gastelum even, he didn't look that great in that third round. Rory McDonald just made him look bad, and honestly, it wouldn't surprise me to see this fight be like that Rory McDonald-Woodley fight. And then, when he fought, like, Jake Shields, he just kind of fell off a cliff there, too. With that said, though, I like Woodley to be able to keep his distance, kind of dictate how the standing exchanges go. The other problem with Woodley, he backs up straight against the fence, so it's against a guy like Thompson. That's not a good thing. I can see Thompson just keeping him at range, and by keeping him at range, I'll make it harder for Woodley to get takedowns. Even if he takes him down, I mean, he's been something of a lane prey guy, and Thompson's just kind of good at getting back to his feet when he's taken down at this point. And like I said, Thompson's really accurate, so I like Thompson here. So I am going to pick Stephen Thompson to win this one. I'll even go by KO or TKO. I just think he can just wear down Woodley and eventually just get, like I said, accurate punches and just get the win there. So yeah, Stephen Thompson by KO or TKO. As far as that, for Joanna Jedrzejczyk's strawweight belt, we have Joanna Jedrzejczyk versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, 10-0 undefeated record, 1 win by TKO, 2 wins by sub, 30 years old, she's 5'3", which recently beat Rose Namajunas. She actually showed a really good clinch knees, or clinch knee game in that fight. Her cardio is really good. She throws at a really high volume. She's not, on a technical level, she's not actually a great boxer, but she kind of masks that by just throwing a lot. Her feet aren't always under her at all times. But she's tough, she's resilient, and she's actually pretty good on the ground, too. Her ability to take it to the ground isn't the greatest, but the thing with Kowalkiewicz, like I said, high volume, real tough. She can out-hustle and outwork her opponent. And, like I said, she showed some really good clinch knees in her last fight. Joanna Jedrzejczyk, 12-0, undefeated record, 4 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub. 29 years old, she's 5'9", or excuse me, 5'6". She'd be huge for the weight class at 5'9". She's 5'6", and she apparently changed camps to ATT for this fight. She is a UFC women's strawweight champion. Her cardio is really good. Her striking is just really refined. Great technical striking. always strikes in combinations, good punches and kicks, high volume. Her takedown defense is really good. I mean, and even when she got taken down, I mean, like when she fought Claudia Gadelha in her second fight, it's like she got taken down. She'd been like half guard on the bottom, underhook, and slowly but surely got to her feet. And, you know, um, eventually it looked like that really tired out Gadelha too. So yeah, Jedrzejczyk's takedown defense is really good. Her elbows from inside. Kowalkiewicz showed some really good knees in her last fight. Jedrzejczyk, she's always shown really good elbows. And when opponents try to shoot in on her and they fail, they usually eat an elbow. If she can get her opponent up against a cage, good elbows up against a cage and against a clinch. With that said, I'm going to pick Joanna Jedrzejczyk to win this one. To be honest, I honestly feel that Jedrzejczyk's just better everywhere than Kowalkiewicz. Maybe not on the ground, but like I don't really see Kowalkiewicz being able to take Jedrzejczyk down. And I just feel that Jedrzejczyk's the better striker and a better technical striker. Both of them are like tough, high volume. Not super heavy-handed. I'd say that Jedrzejczyk's like heavier-handed. Kowalkiewicz is just one of the problems with Kowalkiewicz is she is just not a finisher. 1 win by TKO, 2 wins by sub out of 10 fights. She's also not that big for the weight class, which goes to show just how tough she is, and how she's been able to make up for that lack of size, really. But yeah, with Jedrzejczyk, just a better technical striker, I'd say. She throws in combination, probably a better boxer even. And if Kowalkiewicz even tries to take her down, I think Jedrzejczyk can defend the takedowns. It's just, like I said, I just don't see where Kowalkiewicz has much of an advantage here. So yeah, you want Jedrzejczyk to win. I'll go by decision though, because Kowalkiewicz is pretty tough. Next one I thought, Yoel, Soldier of God, Romero fights Chris All-American Weidman. Weidman, 13-1 record, 6 wins by KO TKO, 3 wins by sub, 32 years old, he's 6'2", training out of Serra-Longo. He's a former UFC middleweight champion, and he last fought in December of 2015 when he lost the belt against Luque Rockhold. Weidman is a strong wrestler. He has a good double, but he has a really good snatch single. Against a guy like Romero, though, I don't really know if that's going to help him. Because Romero, later in the rounds, though, that might actually help Weidman because Jacare was actually able to get trip takedowns on Yoel Romero later in the third round of their fight. Weidman, his boxing's solid. He is a solid boxer, pretty heavy-handed, and he's a pressure fighter too. He's always in his opponent's face, and yeah, that's pretty much it. His cardio is a bit questionable. Like when he fought Rockhold and Machida, it seems like he faded a bit. This is only a 3-round fight though, so it's really tough to say. But he's fighting Yoel Romero, who has an 11-1 record, 9 wins by KO TKO, 2 wins by decision, 39 years old. He's 5'10" on a 7-fight win streak, trains out of ATT, and he last fought in December of 2015. That was against Jacare. Romero is an Olympic level. Olympic level wrestling. He does have a really good shot, but if he wants to take you down from the clinch, he can do that too. Like, when he took down Machida, he just grabbed him, pushed forward, got that takedown, and just ground and pounded him to dust, But Romero's boxing is solid. That guy is super heavy-handed. And he has this weird way of changing his rhythm. The problem with Romero, and it showed in the Jacare fight, is he is a really low-volume striker. He doesn't throw a lot, but when he does throw, it can be fight-ending. cardio-wise, cardio is a bit questionable as well, you know. And this is a guy that doesn't throw a lot, and his cardio is a bit questionable for a 3-round fight, you know. The thing with Romero too is once he's on top, besides that Machida fight, sometimes he doesn't always just. Sometimes he just kind of like lies there. Otherwise, yeah, Romero is a very dangerous fighter though, because he is the type of guy that can keep that power in the later rounds. He knocked out like Tim Kennedy, knocked out Brunson in like the 3rd round, in a fight Brunson was doing really well in. So, yeah, this fight really tough to call. I don't like that Romero is a low volume striker, but his power, like I said, man, that is just fight changing power. Weidman, though, I feel is a little more just consistent. Like, he's not a low volume guy, you know, he throws it at a good clip. You know, he boxes well, but, ooh, man, I wonder if, like, Romero might be able to counterpunch Weidman. And Weidman can wrestle well. I don't know if he's going to take down Romero, but like I said, he might be able to take down Romero in the later rounds if Romero gets tired. Romero, I gotta actually wonder if Romero can take Weidman down, just because, you know, his pedigree, wrestling pedigree is just that good. With that said, though, I like Chris Weidman here to win this one. It's close, though. I'm not going to lie. I'm not confident in this pick. Romero has, you know, he hasn't lost since, like, his Strikeforce days, you know. He's really good, fight-ending power, but like I said, I just, with Weidman, he has the pressure fighting, he boxes well, he's big for the weight class, so is Romero. They both wrestle well, but if this goes like a decision, I have to favor Weidman just in the fact that I think he'd just throw more than Romero. And if it does go to a 3rd round, I think Weidman can at least take a good 3rd round too, or a more definitive 3rd round, if it should go there. So yeah, I'm gonna go Chris Weidman. I'll go by decision. But yeah, this is a tough fight. That one was really tough to call. Next fight, also really tough to call. Donald Cowboy Cerrone fights Kelvin Gastelum. Gastelum, 12-2 record, 4 wins by KO TKO, 4 wins by sub. 24 years old, he's 5'9", and he is an Ultimate Fighter winner. And he is currently trading wins and losses, most recently beating Johnny Hendricks. Gastelum is a pressure fighter. He has a really good chin. He's very resilient. And he's primarily a boxer. And he boxes quite well. His wrestling's solid. His takedown defense is good. And he's pretty attuned to taking the back. Donald Cerrone, 31-7 record with 1 no contest, 7 wins by KO TKO, 16 wins by sub. He has 2 losses by KO TKO, 33 years old, he's 5'11", 3-fight win streak, training out of Jackson Winklejohn. Most recently, he knocked out Rick Story. Cerrone's kickboxing is really good. When he gets into a rhythm, he throws in combination. He's very accurate. He's actually showing more power in this weight class than he has in lightweight. He just knocked out Patrick Cote. And then he knocked out Rick Story, who's actually shown to have a pretty good chin. The other thing with Cerrone, too, is his takedown defense has improved, but he's actually a pretty good offensive wrestler. I think he has an interesting stat that like every guy he's tried to take down, he has taken down. It's not because he has some like awesome shot or something like that. It's because he's really good at timing strikes. So he usually like ducks under a punch and is able to get that takedown. Once he's on the ground, man, this guy's really good there. He's really good at taking the back, and he's just slick too. Off his back, he'll go for like triangle chokes. Remember when he fought like Miles Jury? He got like that omoplata to like side mount to back take. You know, I mean, he's really good on the ground too. Um, this fight is pretty tough to call because I like Kelvin Gastelum. I kind of wonder, especially the first round. Cerrone is a pretty slow starter, and Kelvin Gastelum is a pretty good boxer, like a pressuring type of guy. So I kind of wonder if he's gonna give Cerrone the space that Cerrone's gonna need to land his strikes. And Cerrone has still shown a bit. Well, at this weight class though, he hasn't shown it as much, but that like susceptibility to body strikes. No one's really tested it yet. I kind of wonder if Gaslam's gonna test that. Wrestling wise and grappling wise, I think Kelvin's probably the better like overall wrestler, but I can still actually see Cerrone being able to take Gaslam down. And on the ground, I kind of favor Cerrone just being a little better of a grappler and just a little more slick. Also, I like Cerrone's just variety. You know, he has really good knees. When guys try and take him down, he'll always have that knee. He'll always show off this knee to show him, if you try and take me down, I'm just going to knee you. You know, and then he has like the combination strikes and the really good kicks to the leg, body, and head. So with that said, I am going to go with Donald Cerrone to win this one. I'll go by decision because Kelvin Gastelum's just a really tough guy. The reason why I'm picking Cerrone mainly is just because the variety of strikes. I mean, he can punch, but he can also kick really well too. And then he has knees, and then like he also has in his back pocket like a pretty good grappling game, and his wrestling's not too bad too. So I'm gonna go with Donald Cerrone to be able to throw just a little more variety of strikes, maybe some good leg kicks to stop that forward momentum, and I'll just go with a decision win, like I say, because Kelvin Gaslam's a pretty tough guy. Next right after that, Raquel Rocky Pennington fights Miesha Cupcake Tate. Pennington 8-5 record, 1 win by TKO, 3 wins by sub. 28 years old, she's 5'7" on a 3-fight win streak. Pennington's pretty resilient. Her striking's not too bad. I'd say she's best like in close. If she can get like the clinch and whatnot, she's really good at like dirty boxing and whatnot. And just fighting more on the inside. She's pretty good there. Her grappling isn't too bad. I mean, she's not like some great wrestler, but she's not like a terrible wrestler too. But she's fighting Miesha Tate, who has an 18-6 record, 3 wins by KO TKO, 7 wins by sub. She also has 2 losses by KO TKO and 3 losses by sub. 30 years old, she's 5'9", training out of Extreme Couture, and she's a former UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion and a former Strikeforce Women's Bantamweight Champion. The thing with Miesha Tate is she's really tough. She is a bit hittable. Her boxing has improved, but I'd say her strength is still in the grappling game, you know, and her just her toughness. You know, she's able to take opponents down. She's good at taking the back, and just working from there. And she can pass guard pretty well too. The thing with Tate though is like she can kind of have these like I guess mental gaps in fights where it's like she's wrestling when she should be striking, or she's striking when she should be wrestling. And that's actually cost her before, or made fights closer than they probably should have been. But I do feel that Miesha Tate might just be as good, if not better, in most aspects of the game than Pennington. And she might just be just as good of a striker. I think she's a better wrestler and a better overall grappler. So with that said, yeah, I am going to go with Miesha Tate to win this one. I think she can actually take the fight to the ground and possibly even get just a dominant position. Would not surprise me if she gets a choke. I can see Raquel Pennington doing well based on her toughness. And if Miesha Tate just kind of falls asleep, I guess, like at points in the fight, Raquel Pennington could, get like the upper hand in some way, shape, or form, like a good strike in there or whatnot. But otherwise, I can see Miesha Tate being able to take Pennington down probably taking it back and getting a sub. So yeah, Miesha Tate by submission. Okay, on to the FS1 prelims. Frankie, the answer Edgar, fights Jeremy Lil Heathen Stevens. Frankie Edgar, 20-5 record with 1 draw, 6 wins by KO TKO, 4 wins by sub. 34 years old, he's 5'6", trains out of Ricardo Almeida's under Mark Henry, right? Yeah, I think Eddie Alvarez is training under him too now. And then there's like Barboza, Marlon Moraes, and others who train out of there. He is a former UFC lightweight champion. Edgar his cardio is really good. He is super resilient. I mean, he's been dropped and he just comes back. And his striking's good. He throws in combination. Actually knocked out Chad Mendes. He's a really good wrestler too. I mean, it's one thing to just have like a good like double leg takedown. This is a guy that'll shoot for the double, and if that fails, like when he fought like Cub Swanson, he'll like spin to the back and take him, take him down with like a trip takedown. Like he is good at chaining his takedown attempts. And then once he's on the ground, he's good at staying on top and has shown some pretty good ground and pound. Jeremy Stevens, 25-12 record, 16 wins by KO TKO, 3 wins by sub. Also has 3 losses by submission. 30 years old, he's 5'9", training out of Alliance. And he's trading wins and losses right now. Stevens, striking, it's good. He is really heavy-handed. He's knocked dudes out with head kicks and punches, obviously. His grappling's gotten better. Like, you'll see him actually go for offensive takedowns. And takedown defense isn't bad, but it's not great either. Like, I remember, like, Charles Oliveira, for example, was able to just take this guy down at will. Whereas a guy like Darren Elkins couldn't take him down at all, And yeah, Stevens, just a tough guy. Hits real hard with most strikes, punches. Oh yeah, he won with a knee against Dennis Bermudez, right? If I'm not mistaken. Knocked him out with a knee. Follow-up strikes. One with like head kicks and whatnot too. But here's the thing is, Stevens is probably capable, or not capable, like, if he hits Edgar, I don't know if he'll actually put him out, because Edgar's just that darn tough. But he could cause problems for him. But I also think Edgar might just be the faster guy. Might be able to run circles around him, striking, and then I can see Edgar mixing into takedowns. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Frankie Edgar to win this one, probably by decision. Just being able to mix in the strikes and getting takedowns when they present themselves. Stevens is pretty tough. I can't really see Edgar getting a KO or TKO, and I don't really see a sub either. So yeah, I'm gonna go Frankie Edgar to win this one by decision. So right after that, Khabib the Eagle Nurmagomedov fights Michael the Menace Johnson. Johnson, 17-10 record, 8 wins by KO TKO, 2 wins by sub. He has 6 losses by submission, 30 years old, he's 5'10", trains at a Blackzilians. Johnson, good striker, just knocked out Dustin Poirier. One thing that Johnson showed in that fight was good counter-striking ability. He's good at keeping distance, and he'll mix in his punches. Like, his punches are good. He'll throw in some kicks in there. And Johnson's takedown defense is actually shown to be pretty good. Like I said, he's good at keeping enough distance from him and his opponent that alone makes it hard to take him down. Once he is on the ground, though, like, the only thing he has is an ability to get back to his feet when he's taken down. But, like, otherwise, there are guys that have been able to get him in good positions and even sub him when he's on the ground. Khabib Nurmagomedov, 23-0 undefeated record, 8 wins by KO TKO, 7 wins by sub, 28 years old, he's 5'10". Khabib Nurmagomedov, in my opinion, is probably the best wrestler in, like, MMA. I'm not kidding, too. um, with that Sambo style. I mean, he can go for the single or double, but like, it's like he misses one, and then he'll go for something else. Like he'll just get a body lock. Once he gets a body lock, like you're going for a ride. It just it's almost like inevitable that like if he can get his opponent's back against a cage, his opponent's gonna get taken down in some way, shape, or form. It's crazy. I've seen the dude slam guys. I've seen him trip guys. I've seen him just take him down, regularly. But his wrestling is just next level. It's like it seems like he has like every takedown that exists. Like honestly, like that's what it looks like. If he wants to do judo style takedowns, he'll do that. I've seen him do that to Rafael dos Anjos. Wants to just like pick you up and slam you. I've seen him do that against a bunch of guys. Striking's not too bad. It's that Sambo style though, where it's just it's not very technical. It's not high volume. He does seem to hit hard. Surprisingly accurate. Defensively, it's not that great. It's not that great, but he doesn't really let guys punch him, too. I mean, he, like, runs at guys sometimes they got that clinch. This one, you know what? Khabib's awesome. But I think this fight's might actually be a little tougher for him than it might seem, because I think Michael Johnson is just the better striker. And I think he'll be able to keep Nurmagomedov at a distance for a good while. Making it hard for Nurmagomedov to be able to get in on him. Eventually, though, one thing that Nurmagomedov will do is he just crowds guys. Like, he can just run at guys, get a clinch, and just crowd a guy. And once he gets his opponent up against a fence, like I said, his opponent always goes for a ride. Johnson, though, like I said, like, you gotta think he may have, like, game planned on that. And, he's not a guy that, like, really allows himself to, like, get his back up against the cage a lot. You can watch a lot of his fights. He's a guy that, knows where he is in the cage and how to stay in the center. Nonetheless, I am going to go with Khabib Nurmagomedov to be able to utilize his wrestling and be able to take Michael Johnson down, beat him up on the ground. If Michael Johnson gets back up, Nurmagomedov just, what he does, he just takes you back down, beats you up some more. And, yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to go Khabib Nurmagomedov to win this one. I'll go by decision, though. Because while Michael Johnson has lost by submission, he's not a guy that, like, I've seen really get knocked out. I've seen him get dropped, but I haven't really seen him get, like, knocked at KO or TKO'd. So, yeah, I'll go Khabib Nurmagomedov by decision. Next fight, after that, Tim the Barbarian Boetsch fights Rafael Sapo Natal. Natal, 21-7 record with 1 draw, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 8 wins by sub. Has those 4 losses by KO or TKO, 33 years old, he's 6 foot, trains out of Hento Gracie. Natal is a BJJ black belt, and a really good one at that too, when he's able to get the fight to the ground. His takedowns aren't too bad. Sometimes he'll shoot from really far away. His striking's gotten a lot better, though. He'll throw in combination, throws punches and kicks. He actually did, like, Robert Whittaker beat him, but Natal was actually, like, getting some really good leg kicks on him. But, Whittaker was just a much better boxer. Cardio-wise, too, Natal tends to fade as well. He doesn't have the best chin, also. Tim Boetsch, 19-10 record, 9 wins by KO TKO, 5 wins by sub. He also has 4 losses by KO TKO and 3 losses by sub. 35 years old. He's 5'11". He's only won 3 of his last 9 bouts. Most recently beating departed Josh Saman. The thing with Boetsch is that he has a really good clinch. He has that redneck judo. He's pretty tough. He has really good uppercuts from inside the clinch. His striking's alright. It's not great, but it works. It works for him. I'd say his strength is really in the clinch, and he is particularly heavy-handed. He is also a guy that has come back. He's something of a comeback kid type guy, where like he'll lose a fight and then end up winning it. But yeah, this one's actually tough for me to say because both these guys have weaknesses. Like Boetsch, quite honestly, is just getting older. He's getting a bit more shot worn, but Rafael Natal mentally isn't always there. He doesn't have the best chin, and he tends to fade late in fights. Boetsch on the ground, especially on his back, isn't the greatest. Like Talis Late's, like top level guy, like grapplers. He got Kimura'd by like Davis. He got like arm triangled by like Late's. Natal is capable of getting like a sub. He does have a really high level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game. This one's tough to say, but like, I'm leaning Boetsch here because like I think he might be able to land a good punch on Natal. I think that Natal fades later in fights. Boetsch isn't the worst wrestler, his takedown defense isn't that bad or anything like that. But I do kind of worry that Natal might be able to take him down. And Natal's striking isn't that bad, so he might actually be able to go, strike with Boetsch as well. The thing is, Boetsch is pretty heavy-handed. He's resilient. I think he can get a good third round or come back, especially if it goes to like the third round. I think Boetsch can get the better of him, and honestly, I'm gonna go with Tim Boetsch to win this one by KO or TKO. Next fight after that, Vicente Luque fights Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. Okay, Belal Muhammad, 10-1 record, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 6 wins by decision. 28 years old, he's 5'10". Muhammad, he primarily boxes. He will throw the body punches, and he does throw in combinations with his boxing. And he actually showed a pretty good wrestling game in his last fight. Otherwise, he's not the most athletic guy, and that really showed when he fought like Alan Joban, for example. But man, he's tough. He got dropped a couple times, and he was still coming at Joban. Vicente Luque, 10-5 record with 1 draw, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 5 wins by sub. Also has 2 losses by submission. 24 years old, he's 5'11", on 3-fight win streak. Trains at Blackzilians. Vicente Luque is pretty solid, actually. His striking's good. Showed some power. Knocked out his last opponent. And on the ground, like his wrestling, his ability to take the fight to the ground isn't too bad. But he has a really good front choke. His Darce is really good. Or his just front chokes in general are really good. I think guys he's lost to is like Michael Graves so far in the UFC. Michael Graves is able to make some takedowns and beat Luque. Primarily grappling, actually. This one's tough for me to call because Vicente Luque has been looking better and better with every fight. But Belal Muhammad, he's very consistent with what he does. He likes to box. His takedown defense isn't that bad, and he can wrestle. I have a really tough time picking who's going to win this one. Because, man, yeah, Luque has been looking pretty good. But Belal Muhammad is solid. Like, both these guys are pretty solid. Losing to Alan Joban in their first fight in the UFC, and looking pretty good, like, managing to, like, kind of rally back, that's pretty good. You know what? This one's kind of a pick'em fight for me. I'm just going to go Belal Muhammad by decision. I think he might be the better overall boxer, whereas Vicente Luque might be the better, like, Muay Thai practitioner. Right. So yeah, I think Muhammad might have the better hands, but like Luque might have better everything else, knees, kicks, and whatnot. And Luque is probably better on the ground, especially with his front chokes and whatnot. But I don't know if he can take Muhammad to the ground. Um, I'm just gonna go with Muhammad to be able to just outbox Luque. Really tough to say if he'll be able to do that. Like I said, it's kind of a pick and fight for me, but I'll go with Belal Muhammad to win by decision. Count to fight past prelims. Thiago Pitbull Alves fights Jim Miller. Jim Miller, 27-8 record with 1 no contest. 4 wins by KO, 14 wins by sub. Has his 2 losses by submission. 33 years old. He's 5'8 on a 2-fight win streak. Was recently beating Joe Lozon. The thing with Miller is he's really well-rounded. He's a good wrestler. His Brazilian jiu-jitsu skills are really good. And his striking just isn't that bad. His work rate is pretty good. He has good like elbows and knees from inside. Um, Actually did pretty well against Lozon on the feet. The problem with Jim Miller though is his takedown defense is a bit questionable. It's not the greatest. It's not bad, but it's not the greatest. And the other problem is Jim Miller can be far too content to be on his back. That's one of his biggest weaknesses, and one of the reasons why he's lost some of the fights that he has. Also, he's just getting older, and he's been through a lot of fights. He's, in my opinion, clearly slowing down. Thiago Alves, 21-10 record, 12 wins by KO, 2 wins by sub. Has his 2 losses by KO, 4 losses by sub. 33 years old, he's 5'10", training out of ATT. Last fought in May of 2015, and it's his first cut to 155. I still remember at one point when this guy was a huge 170, but he was never the tallest guy. The cut to 155 should be interesting. I really don't know how he's gonna look at 155. At his best, though, his Muay Thai is really good. He has heavy hand and a really strong leg kick. His takedown defense isn't that bad. I would imagine he's just going to be the bigger fighter in this fight as well, which might also bring problems to Jim Miller. With that said, Miller's tough. And like I said, I don't know how Alves will do at this new weight class, but I think Alves should be the better striker here. If he can get those leg kicks going, I think he can give Jim Miller a pretty tough night. I think Miller might have a hard time taking Alves down. That's really tough to say at this point. I really don't know. But I can see Thiago Alves outstriking Miller if Alves looks good in this fight. And just doing well there. So I go to Thiago Alves to win. I'm tempted to go by K or TKO, but for now I'll just go by decision. And finally, Liz Gorilla Carmouche fights Katlyn Chikagian. Carmouche, 10-5 record, 6 wins by KO TKO, 2 wins by sub. She also has 2 losses by submission. 32 years old. She's 5'9". Last fought in April of 2015. Strength. Carmouche's strength is in her wrestling. She's able to take opponents down. She has really good ground and pound. She can pass dominant positions and hit that ground and pound. Her striking, though, isn't that great. It's very rudimentary. She can get outstruck quite a bit. But, like I said, her strength really is taking opponents down and just beating them up. Katlyn Chikagian, 8-0, undefeated record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub, 27 years old, she's 5'9". The thing with Chikagian is she does have good striking. She actually fought someone that's pretty similar and beat Lauren Murphy in the last fight. One thing about Chikagian is that she uses a lot of movement, and she's good at kind of pot shotting. So she'll throw a strike or two, get out, throw a strike or two, and Murphy wasn't able to really chase her down, and it made it hard for Murphy to take her down too. So with that said, I am going with Katlyn Chikagian to win this one by decision to utilize her movement, making it hard for Carmouche to take her down. Also, I think Chookagian just might be the better striker than Carmouche. So, yeah, I'm going to go Katlyn Chookagian to win by decision. Okay, to recap, I have Eddie Alvarez beating Conor McGregor. Oh, shoot, did I not say method of victory? Shoot, it was either by, like, decision, I think. I'll go Eddie Alvarez to win by submission, actually. Stephen Thompson beating Tyron Woodley by KO or TKO. Joanna Jedrzejczyk over Karolina Kowalkiewicz by decision. Chris Weidman over Yoel Romero by decision. Donald Cerrone beating Kevin Gastelum by decision. And Miesha Tate over Raquel Pennington by submission. On the prelims, I have Frankie Edgar beating Jeremy Stephens by decision. Khabib Nurmagomedov over Michael Johnson by decision. Tim Boetsch over Rafael Natal by KO or TKO. And Belal Muhammad over Vicente Luque by decision. On the prelims, I have Thiago Alves over Jim Miller by decision. And finally, Katlyn Chookagian beating Liz Carmouche by decision. So that's it for my predictions for UFC 205, Alvarez versus McGregor. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And please support me and my journey of being an author by buying my first novel, The Mustard Prince in the Condiment Kingdom, for $4.99 from my website on Amazon.com. And also check out my short stories and short story collections just for $1.99 on Amazon or on my website, starting with The Land of the Wooden Statues. Then there's the horror collection and the fantasy fable collection. So that's pretty much it for MMA for You. Thank you guys very much.